Hi, I'm Candy Duncan. I'm the president of the League of Women Voters for the Lewisburg area. And on behalf of the League, I'd like to welcome you to tonight's candidates night, featuring the candidates for Lewisburg High School Board of Directors and the Warrior Run High School Board of Directors. We begin all of our events with the reading of our nonpartisan statement. The League of Women Voters of the Lewisburg area is nonpartisan, meaning it neither endorses nor opposes a political party or candidate for political office. The choice made in 1920 by the National League to neither support nor oppose any political party or candidate for public office continues today to ensure that the League's voice is heard above the tumult of party politics. The League values the differing viewpoints held by all attendees, and we request your cooperation in providing an atmosphere for listening and respectful discussion. Tonight, I'd like to introduce our moderator, Elaine Hopkins. Elaine was a faculty member and administrator at Bucknell University from 1980 until her retirement in 2016. She's a very active member of the Bucknell Institute for Lifelong Learning and is the vice president of the League of Women Voters of the Lewisburg area. Her father, son, sister, nephew, and his wife, and two sisters-in-law are or were teachers in public school systems. So she understands and appreciates the important role of school boards. Elaine.
Thanks, Candy. Good evening, everyone. Once again, my name is Elaine Hopkins, and I will be your moderator for this evening. The League sponsors nonpartisan candidates nights for voters to learn more about candidates running for contested races. This event is an opportunity for citizens to be educated about the candidates and their positions. One of our goals this evening is to create an atmosphere that is a comfortable forum for the candidates to answer questions. We ask that the candidates focus on the issues and ideas that distinguish them from the other candidates on the panel and offer civil and non-inflammatory responses to questions. All audience members will be video and audio muted for this event, and the chat is closed to the audience. Tonight's event will be recorded from start to finish. Within the next few days, the complete and unedited recording of this event will be published on YouTube. Links to this recording will also be available on our League's Facebook page, League of Women Voters Lewisburg Area, and on our website, LWVLewisburgarea.org. This evening, the panelists will be asked questions that were received from people who registered to attend this event, as well as questions prepared in advance by our League's Voter Services Committee. League questions were developed from a variety of sources, including suggestions from League members and research into online information about school board issues. Questions were screened using the following criteria: that they are relevant to current issues and to the office being considered, that they are carefully phrased to prevent bias and partisanship, and that they are questions relevant to all candidates for the office in question, that they are comprehensive, that they are not inflammatory or an attack on any other candidate, and that they do not duplicate questions already asked. Our panel tonight will consist of candidates for school director from both the Lewisburg Area School District and Warrior Run School District Region 1. As we begin, we wish to remind the audience that school directors are members of a board that sets policy, determines the annual budget and levies taxes accordingly, evaluates the superintendent, and monitors student achievement. The board focuses on governance, while the superintendent is responsible for the daily operation of the district. Boards meet at least monthly in addition to committee meetings and executive sessions. School directors are not paid, and the terms are 4 years. In advance of this event, we invited all candidates for these positions to submit written responses to the following 2 questions. Number 1, how will you approach decisions on controversial issues? Community members have conflicting views about the actions the school board should take. Number 2, school board members have collective rather than individual authority. How will you foster a spirit of collaboration with your fellow board members to successfully work together on behalf of the students? The answers to those questions are publicly available at vote411.org and in our league's voters' guides, which are available online and in print at post offices, banks, libraries, and other public locations. There will be 8 candidates on the ballot for the Lewisburg Area School District to fill 5 positions on the board. 6 of those candidates are here. They are Laura Graver, Cory Heath, Erin Jablonski, Justin Madaus, and Tera Unzicker Fassero. There will be 2 candidates on the ballot for the Warrior Run Region 1 to fill 1 position on the board. Both of them are here tonight. They are Miranda Bailey and Tamara Hoffman. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for their opening statement, 1 minute for a closing statement, 1 minute to answer each question, and 30 seconds to give a rebuttal response for each question if they wish. Our timer tonight is Linda Harris. When there are 30 seconds left to finish an answer to a question, she will hold up a yellow card. When time is up, she will hold up a red card. At that time, candidates should finish their sentence and stop. When presenting a rebuttal, candidates will have 30 seconds to speak. A yellow card will indicate 15 seconds are left to speak. When the red card is held up, candidates should finish the sentence and stop. We ask that all candidates honor the time restraints so that all may be heard. I will be rotating the order in which candidates answer the questions in alphabetical order, starting with Miranda Bailey. Let us begin with candidates' opening statements. I remind you that you have 2 minutes each. Miranda.
Hi, everyone. My name is Miranda Bailey, and I'm excited to be running for school board director. I am a proud graduate of Warrior Run and continued my education at Lewisburg University with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. I've been married to my husband for 20 years, and I currently have 2 children attending Warrior Run. I can truly say I have a vested interest in our school district. I am actively involved with my children's activities at school, where I'm currently the VP of the Band Association. I am also currently the Regional Commissioner for Warrior Run ASO Soccer Program and the U15 soccer coach. By being actively involved with my children and their activities, I talk to the parents on a weekly basis on how their children are doing in school. I am running for school board director to keep parental rights for the parents, fiscal responsibility, curriculum transparency, and empowering students to reach their full potential. I am also committed to promoting innovative programs to develop critical thinking skills, problem-solving abilities, which is something I believe we lack currently. I also would like to see a more active stance on the zero bullying policy. I believe that the school board must be responsive and receptive to parents, staff, students, and the community to encourage an open dialogue. To be an effective school board member, you must be able to collaborate and creatively think to ensure our resources are invested in the classroom and our tax dollars are being used effectively and efficiently. One thing I want to change is to address anyone that comes before the board to speak. Everyone has a right to be heard and acknowledged, not ignored. By working together and sharing ideas, we can come together as a community to make Warrior Run great. Thank you for your time this evening, and I ask you to vote on November 7th because it's time for a change. Thank you.
Thank you, Miranda. Ashley.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's lovely to be here, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for bringing us all together. My name is Ashley Grant, and I'm excited to be running for the position of Lewisburg School Board Director. As a brand new parent of a 3-month-old, my passion for quality education is stronger than ever. I want to ensure that my boy and everyone else's children receive an education that helps them to be their fullest and best selves. I believe that my career in education helps to inform my passion in a practical way and makes me an excellent future school board member in Lewisburg. First, as a 5th grade teacher, I came to understand firsthand how schools operate on a day-to-day basis and to develop a deep empathy for the needs of our teachers, our most precious resource. Then, Serving on a Catholic school board when I lived in Baltimore, I led our strategic planning committee and gained experience seeing what school boards really do and learned the importance of paying attention to small details that make schools and budgets work. And now, as an education researcher, I work with school districts and ed programs all over the country to figure out what programs actually help students learn so that we can invest our resources wisely in programs that work for our students. In this work with school districts like Lewisburg, I bring members of the community together to fuel great education outcomes for students. I'm excited to combine both my passion with my experience in education to further the outcomes for Lewisburg students. I look forward to hearing everyone's questions tonight and to providing our community with a greater understanding of my priorities and perspectives as a potential school board member.
Thank you, Ashley. Laura.
Good evening, I'm Laura Graver, and I'm excited to run for school board. So thank you all for joining us and for your interest in this very important position in our community. So I am running to really find ways to amplify the success that we already have in Lewisburg Area School District. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself in case you don't know me, to understand where I'm coming from. I have 3 children in this school district who are thriving green dragons. So I have firsthand knowledge of our remarkable teachers and staff. My husband and I chose to open a business in Lewisburg 13 years ago. We were working during the week in Philadelphia and staying at the Lewisburg Days Inn on the weekends, eating late night hot diggity dogs, while my husband slowly convinced me that moving to Lewisburg from Philadelphia would be an incredible place to start our family. The only reason I originally agreed to look here was because of Lewisburg Area School District. The district had a reputation that made it stand out on the map to us, and our 3 children making their way through the elementary and the middle school have proven that to be true. We are very grateful and feel blessed to be here. I have a strong long-term commitment to this community, being a business owner, but I'm confident there are new ways that we can amplify the success of our district by maximizing our local resources. Simply put, we have a unique funding situation here in Lewisburg Area School District, and I don't think enough of our community really understands it. We need to change that, and I think the school board plays a vital role in that part of the communication about our district's unique situation. I'm willing to do the work. My research began in the search for pool access for my children and found that we have some unique circumstances and some really great resources here in the community, but I think more partnerships are needed to make all the resources available to everybody. So my number one focus, which I hope to expand on in the question section.
Time is up, Laura.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
Everybody, all the candidates should be watching Linda when they're giving their statements. So thank you.
Thank you.
Cory? You have to unmute yourself, Cory.
Good evening. My name's Cory Heath. I'm a parent of a 2021 grad here in Lewisburg. I retired about 6 years ago from the prison system here locally. Been married to my wife for 23 years. We've been members of the Lewisburg Alliance Church here locally for the last 20 years. Currently serving as the security director for the church. I've been on the school board now for 8 years, and the last 4 years I've been the vice president of the school board. So I've enjoyed the time that I've served so far, and I'm hoping to be able to continue to do so.
Okay, thank you. Tamara.
Good evening. I'll just, I am a little under the weather today, tested COVID positive, but I'm here with my tissues and we'll power through. So my name's Tamara Hoffman. I have 3 children in the school district. I was born and raised Defender. My husband is a teacher in the school district. My two of my children have recent graduates, so I have one more in the district in the high school. From the time that my oldest daughter started school, I knew I wanted to be involved and really get to know my teachers and my administrators. So for as long as I was allowed to be, 14 years, I was a member of the parent associations. And so for 13 of those 14 years, I was some kind of officer. I also have been invited to be a part of the EIP and GIEP planning committees, the comprehensive planning committee, school counselors committee. I'm on the Warrior Run Education Foundation, and I've been on the school board for 10 years. I'm also the Warrior Run representative on the CSIU board. I'm a CPA, so I feel like that gives me a unique advantage when it comes to budgeting and really making sure that we're doing what's best and being financially responsible to our taxpayers. My students are absolutely my number one priority. Looking forward, I mean, over the past 10 years, I'm very proud and happy to work with the board that I have. We've done a lot of good for the community in building our new K-6. And looking forward, there's always more to do, right? So we were able to move from 3 buildings to 2 and 3 campuses to 1, which will allow us to, you know, be efficient out into the future, as be as lean as we can. I'm running out of time, so I'm happy to answer whatever questions. And thank you so much for the invite and for doing this event.
Thank you, Tamara. Erin?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Elaine and the League of Women Voters, for hosting this event. I'm Erin Jablonski, running for school board in the Lewisburg area. I'm currently in my 8th year on the board. I previously served as treasurer, currently serving as president. It's been a real privilege to see how decisions that our board has made over my time on the board have directly and positively impacted children and families in the Lewisburg community. And I want to continue to be a part of that good work. I'm also a mom of 2 kids in the district. And in my career as an engineering professor, I've been engaged with K-12 schools through outreach and STEM programming for almost 20 years. There are just 3 main points I want to make tonight. I'm a strong advocate for all the good that results from providing a high quality public education. I care deeply about this community, and I am fully aware of all the financial implications of every action we take as a board. First, as you've probably heard me state before, I am committed to supporting public education as a social good that considers each child. The work we do in our schools and throughout all of our school-sponsored activities supports and prepares students for their futures, and we want to make sure every child has a whole future story and has opportunities to prepare themselves for whatever their goals may be. Second, I do want to stress how invested I am in our community, not only through the school board, but through my other volunteer work. I know that we serve a very diverse population. We need to be sensitive to every family's unique circumstances. And so when we think about what our schools can do, they need to be the safe place with caring adults. And then finally, our district's overall budget, our ongoing priorities and our long-term plans, and the fact that we do rely so heavily on local tax revenue factors heavily in every decision we make about spending, whether it's filling a position, improving our buildings, or maintaining things or contracted services. I want that to be something that we continue to focus on and be diligent about. So thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Justin?
Yes, good evening and welcome. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for sponsoring and hosting the event tonight, and for my fellow candidates and candidates in different districts for attending, and the community for coming out and asking questions and listening. My name is Justin Madaus. I'm running for a seat on the Lewisburg Area School District. Currently, I'm a licensed psychologist in Pennsylvania and a counselor at the Commonwealth University Bloomsburg campus. I'm also a business owner, a property owner, and a parent of 2 children, one who's at Kelly, one who will be headed to Kelly soon. I'm also a former school board member in Pennsylvania. I served on the Whitehall-Copley School District Board in Lehigh County as the president, vice president, and a board representative to the Lehigh County Career and Technical Institute, which is akin to SunTech here in Union County. As a father and a product of public education, I believe providing the opportunity for every child in our community to get a quality foundational education is one of the most important functions that we have and that government has at all levels. My wife and I chose to live in Lewisburg because of the reputation of the school district and the district's ability to provide that quality education. As a board member, I would strive for fiscal responsibility with our tax dollars, maintaining that quality education that they built their reputation on. I'd also be an advocate for a more fair state funding formula and continue looking for ways to be more efficient with our resources and creative in seeking out alternative revenue sources. As a psychologist on the front lines of the mental health crisis right now, I know how our neighbors and friends have been affected and would look to use my knowledge, bring my knowledge to the board to help to make sure that we're taking care of the mental health and well-being of our students and staff. So I appreciate your time and I'm looking forward to questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Tera.
There, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for entertaining my late arrival on video. My daughter is safely at field hockey. So I'm Tera Unzicker Fassero, and I'm running to try to retain my seat on the Lewisburg Area School Board. I have numerous experience on the board, and I guess going last with my last name, I should just say ditto of what every candidate said as far as why I'm running and some of my experiences and et cetera, but I will just fill you in on some of my details. I've been on the board for over 12 years. I have been through building projects, 4 superintendents, a complete turnover of the board. I've been through every type of negotiation or contract, whether it be the teachers, the building principals, and the administrative staff. I've been through ASME negotiations and our support staff. I have seen crisis in the schools. I've seen budgetary issues in the schools. I've seen the PSERS part go absolutely off the wall. I do have experience, and that's why I'm running. I feel like I still have work to do. Just a little bit more about myself. I'm an optometrist and a business owner. Just started my own practice about almost 5 years ago now. I'm a mom to 4 Lewisburg students, 2 grads and 2 current students. I've served on the CSIU board, Next Century, very active in Boy Scouts as well as Girl Scouts. All of my children are in athletics. And before I was on the board, I was a very integral part of the PSA. Never did a complete office as an officer because I got on the school board and wasn't able to do that. But I do bring experience, and I do bring, I think, some type of stability. Even talking about stuff that we did at our last meeting, I remember why we did some of the things that we did. So I'd appreciate your vote.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're going to proceed to the questions. The first question is, the board must work together to plan for the district. What 2 specific issues would you want the board to prioritize? This time we will start with Ashley.
Great. I think in Lewisburg, as many of us have brought up, one of the biggest issues is just keeping on budget, right, navigating the constantly rising costs of staff, of faculty, and while not putting an excessive burden on our taxpayers. So, constantly just navigating that and keeping that in mind with every decision. And then I think some things that have come up recently in conjunction with that is thinking about big burdens on the budget from students attending things like cyber charter schools and whatnot, which are big items that I think could be looked into as both saving money and also thinking about why are students choosing them, or do we need to potentially educate these families more about the opportunities locally.
Thank you. Laura.
Thank you. So I think the two priorities for specifically for LASD would be number one, the funding situation, and number two would be academic excellence and the continued efforts there. As far as funding, LASD is facing an increased school budget, inflation, plus increased cost of education, plus significant capital projects, millions of dollars, a limited property tax base, and we receive the least amount of PA state basic education funding per student among our CSIU. So our options simply stated are to cut the budget, borrow money, raise taxes, or find new funding sources. I'm running to raise awareness and to find those new funding sources. As far as academic excellence, I think it's just a constant priority, keeping our focus there on academics and providing the best for our students.
Thank you, Laura. I forgot that after Ashley answered the question that I was supposed to ask, and I will ask now for both Laura's response and Ashley's if anyone wanted to offer a rebuttal. Or should I have said that at the very end, Linda?
After they complete all the questions individually, all 8 of them do each question.
Thank you. Sorry, everybody. This is my first rodeo. Okay, so on to Cory.
Two issues that I think we have to prioritize, and these are not in order because I'm not sure how you prioritize these two issues, but it would be the budget and school safety. And when I say school safety, we're not just talking about physical doors and locks and things like that, but the biggest component of school safety is actually student mental health. All of those things are intertwined with the budget. One overshadows the other. They mirror together, but to me, they're the two most important issues that we have to stay focused on.
Okay, thank you. Tamara.
Two priorities that stick out to me. One, we recently did a parent survey of just things that they would like to see in the district, things they're happy with. And the two things that what were on the bottom of the list as far as approval was after school preparedness of our graduating students. Because I have 2 graduate students who just graduated, I have a unique perspective here. I feel like I could really help, and I have already offered up some ideas to our school counselors. So to really make sure that we're giving our students everything they need, whether that's going off into the job market or pursuing higher education. A second priority would be to finish our long-term building plans. We have a new K-3 school. We have to finish K-6 school. We have to finish our 7 to 12 building to meet the needs of our students.
Thank you. Erin.
It's going to sound very similar. We have to concern ourselves a lot with the budget, and that's multiple things. It's our annual operating. So what does that look like in terms of positions that we need to have, and what does it look like in terms of capital projects? We have some deferred maintenance that we need to catch up on, whether that's painting projects in our middle school or other things like that. Roofing always comes up, parking lots, these sorts of things. These are not interesting to talk about, but they do eat up a lot of dollars, and we have to weigh that against other priorities in the district. And then I want to echo what Cory said as well. As I mentioned, I think school needs to be that safe place with caring adults, and for some kids, we need to be extra attentive to their particular needs, whether that is in the realm of mental health, academic supports, whatever their future plans may be. So budget and students are the things I think we need to focus on and prioritize well.
Thank you. Justin.
Sure, I think similar response. From a budget perspective, I think we need to be thinking about the investments that we're making, not only in the academics and making sure kids are prepared to go to college, but also in the areas of technical education and making sure that we're developing good, jobs for the future that students can do in the trades and technical education. And second, obviously, as I said in my opening, mental health is obviously important to me, and thinking about that and how we're doing that in our schools for both our students and our staff, making sure that they're taken care of and safe in that regard would be the two priorities that I would look at as a board member. So thank you.
Thank you. Tera.
So first of all, you talked about working together, and I think first and foremost, it's very important to have conversation with other board members during the meeting, and have public conversation so that the public is aware of the transparency of the board. But again, it's going to be repeated of my previous either colleagues or running mates. We have to figure out how it affects what does this affect and how does it affect, meaning students, staff, community, safety, and how are we paying for it? Because those two, I think, are things are our most important priorities as a school board: budget and our kids. If we're not doing it for the right reasons, it's probably not worth the money. If it needs to be done and we need, have to do it, then we will find a way, whether that's raising money or going to other resources.
Thank you. Miranda.
My biggest things would be also keeping in line with the money and everything, fiscal responsibility with building the new schools and the repairs that are coming to our district. I want to make sure we stay on track and try not to raise taxes for our taxpayers. And also, I think we need to try to bring our community together, parents, our students, our teachers.
Okay, thank you. Now that everyone has had a chance to respond to that question, would any of the candidates like to offer a rebuttal? Okay. Moving on to the next question then. How would you address planned capital expenses while keeping your district competitive with all the resources that students deserve? This round will start with Laura.
Okay, there you go. So I would address it. I'll provide something unique here. I've heard a lot of agreement across the board that we want safe schools and we want more funding for our students to get them what they need. So I'll just offer this, that LASD gets significantly less state funding than our surrounding districts. I already said that. But do you know that approximately 25% of the property in LASD is tax exempt? If today that were to be magically become taxable property, it would result in an almost $7 million additional tax revenue annually for LASD. I think we need to look at our tax exempt properties and look at our community partnerships and the resources that they have and could possibly contribute to our student body. I see that as one source of funding, which answers the question that was posed. Thank you.
Thank you. Cory.
So I guess to answer the question by telling you pretty much how we do our planned capital expenditures, we maintain a 5-year plan. So we can always look out and see what's coming up as far as capital expenditures, the ones we know about. Obviously, there can be unplanned capital expenditures, emergencies, a roof leak, something that has to be addressed. But we try to maintain those things that can be projected and predicted so that we can know where we are on our schedule. The 5-year schedule is not hard and fast. It's not sometimes you can move a project back a year, or if somehow you find the resources, you can move it up a year. So it allows us to stay on top of things, and we try not to be surprised by the things that you're able to predict.
Hey, thank you. I'm going to repeat the question because someone asked me to. How would you address planned capital expenses while keeping your district competitive with all the resources that students deserve? Tamara, to you.
Well, this has definitely been something that Warrior Run was faced with over the last 10 years. We had basically our mortgage was coming due and we had needs to address throughout the district. So we did a feasibility study and we were looking at it long term. None of us were interested in I'm only here for 4 years, so let's put a Band-Aid on it. We were all looking at long-term solutions. And by, as I already said, combining the schools and getting everything on one campus, we were really able to plan efficiently for long-term, lean financial health. And in the meantime, we were also, we got very lucky with borrowing. We had, historically low bond rates that we were able to lock in to help fund what we did have to do. And then going into the future, we were saving in our capital budget to do the improvements that we have yet to do. So we already know the money is there, and that was just from, planning and working. Again, some of it was luck. We got into the bond market when the interest rates were historically low, so we didn't have to, pay those crazy high rates, and then just saving along the way to finish what we started.
Thank you. Erin?
So in Lewisburg, every year when we craft the budget, the first thing we prioritize is our annual operating needs. So that's all the salaries, all of the benefits, all the needs for students, everything like that is budgeted first. And the thing that we usually squish, the bit that is elastic for us, is our contribution to the capital fund each year. And so for years, we wanted to do the HVAC project to improve it, because kids and teachers were very hot during the day, and that was not conducive to learning. So fortunately, with some COVID money, we were able to do a massive HVAC project. But again, that was going to be pushed off. If we hadn't got those extra COVID funds, that would have been something that waited. And so our capital projects, as Cory mentioned, are planned 5 and 10 years out. We know what's coming. We also occasionally have some surprises. But the capital contribution from our annual budget is the last thing that we do, because we want to make sure that we do everything we can for students and staff first that needs to be done in the year. And then we whatever sort of the leftover is what ends up going into our capital fund.
Thank you. Justin?
Yeah, I think what Erin just said is appropriate. I guess what I would add is, when looking at capital projects, one of the things that I'm thinking about is what's the direct result of the capital project on student outcomes. Right. So for instance, the HVAC, I think that has a direct impact on the learning environment and student outcomes, and therefore, to me, was a higher priority than maybe something that is not necessarily directly impacting the learning environment and student outcomes. So that's where my mindset would be when I'd be thinking about planned capital projects.
Okay, thank you. Tera?
So the idea that they're planned is that there aren't as many surprises. I think that we do a very good job of this, and we have since we had the inception of the 2020 plan, which we continue to update. So we constantly have kind of our finger on the pulse, watching the temperature of the school district, et cetera. Our business manager is at every meeting. We have very close contact. Every single board member has very close contact with him and the superintendent. We try to have no surprises. Of course, when the boiler breaks or when this breaks, it happens. We have a forecast of even, are we not buying any more vans? We just said that at a meeting because, those things seem to crop up, and it's a lot of money. We aren't on exactly a shoestring budget, but at the same time, we cannot keep raising taxes to our community.
Okay, thank you. Miranda?
I believe it's important to look at like your long range plan, see what maintenance is coming due. Are we building anything? What do we need to buy? What do we need to keep our children safe in school? And also make sure you're budgeting for your salaries and any other additional expenses.
Okay, thank you. Ashley?
To add what others have already said, from my time on a school board previously, I was on the strategic planning committee, and a big part of making budget decisions was coming back to that strategic plan, thinking, okay, we have these short-term goals, these long-term goals, and really making sure budgetary decisions are reflecting those long and short-term plans. And additionally, in my work as an ed researcher, I've done cost benefit analysis and bringing that into how we select programs or select among different options, right? Thinking about what are the benefits we're getting out versus costs, and about using that as a evaluation tool.
Thank you. So now that everyone has answered that question, would anyone like to offer a rebuttal? Okay. Next question. Not all students want or are ready to pursue a four-year college degree. How dedicated are you to promoting options such as Sun Area Technical Institute or Lycoming Career and Technology Center for these students? This time we'll start with Cory.
Based on the studies that have been presented to the board in the last few years, it's pretty clear that those technical institutes are important. There's a shortage of skilled workers for those areas. It's there's not a shortage of college graduates. There's there are a lot of kids that have skills in those areas and have an interest in those areas, and there are a lot of really good paying jobs that are available to them through those programs. There's at Sun in particular, they're constantly evolving their programs to make them more up to date and more relevant. They do a great job over there, and I think the board completely fully supports them in their programs.
Thank you. Tamara?
Yeah, absolutely. The trades are a wonderful avenue to pursue. Our students are all, there's an assembly that it's made very clear that, LICO Career and Technology Center is where Warrior Run goes. We offer that to every student. Our students excel in that program year after year. Coming out of that school, they'll have certifications coming right out of school that will give them an edge. We do apprenticeships where they can be excused from school to do work that they are going to pursue if they're not planning to go to college or trade school, but right into work. We have those available as well. Our special education students also have an amazing program that gets them into workplace and gives them real life experience on what they're able to do. So I'm in full support of, like I said, every avenue after school. We have to make sure whatever our students' desires are afterwards, that it's being taken care of.
Thank you. Erin?
Sure, I would agree with what everyone has said, that the trades are a very valuable career path. It can be much better for some students than going to college and deciding it's not for them, because you get a career with a high paying salary quickly. So a lot of people would say, oh, here's this professor saying this. I am the only one in my immediate family of my siblings and parents who has a college degree. Everyone else works in the trades, and they're doing very well. And they didn't have to spend the 7 or 8 or whatever number of years it was that I did in college to do that. And so the first thing we can do to support SunTech, I think, is make everyone very well aware. We do a great job. We bring the 8th graders over. We do career exploration. We have some software that students use to sort of figure out what their interests may be. We also need to reduce the stigma. I do think there's still a bit of a stigma because we talk college prep all the time. But if we talk about how we are running out of plumbers, welders, electricians, HVAC, and mechanics, that is something that can help us get more students interested in pursuing the tech programs.
Thank you. Justin?
Yes, as I said in my opening, I liaison for my previous school board with the Lehigh County Career and Technical Institute, which was held up as a model by that then federal administration. It's extremely important that we do all that we can to reduce the stigma and get students who might not otherwise succeed in the college environment into those trade areas and technical education, and do the best we can as a board to support that with resources and financially to ensure that we have lots of opportunities for students in those areas, because that'll just help our own community, right, to make sure that we have jobs here in the community for students. So yes, very important. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Tera?
So Dave, the director of Suntech, had invited all board members running, all people running for school board to go out and tour Suntech, and I took advantage of that and spent over 3+ hours with him. It was amazing. I've been out there numerous times. I spoke at our board meeting just this last week of what a diamond in the rough that is out there. We're missing out on opportunities of sending our kids and filling those positions. I'm a big proponent for technical education, and not just technical education, but the way that we can incorporate technical education even with those kids that want to go to college. So it doesn't have to be a one or the other. It can be an and. The mechatronics program out there is amazing. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it at Suntech. That's stuff that engineers don't even get their hands on. So it's very important.
Thank you. Miranda.
I am in full support of all the Suntech areas like Homing College Technology. I believe this is a dying art, getting people to go to these trade schools to be a plumber, HVAC, welder, any of this thing is starting to be a dying art. And I think it's an excellent path for children to pursue when they're ready to leave high school if they do not want to pursue college. And if they do want to pursue college, they also can pursue this as well. There's lots of options for children anymore.
Okay, thank you. Ashley?
Yeah, I think Suntech is a great local resource. It has great outcomes and programs that others have already said. Because that's not always the case. A lot of community college programs aren't having those same type of outcomes. So we're really lucky to have that. And I think we've done a great job of building that connection and resource. Similar to kind of what Erin was saying, even though I'm all very educated and have been in school forever, my brother's a firefighter and really was not big into traditional schooling, and for him to go to a community college program to do a specific program was essential for him. And so I think it's really important that we continue to identify for our students, you know, what is your full potential? What is your success look like for you? It's not the same for everybody. And I think that's something that came from when I was a teacher. I noticed that. And I think as the board, we have to continue to build those connections with programs.
Okay, thank you. Laura?
I'll echo what everyone says. Of course, I think it's integral. I think it's not only important for our students, but it's important for our community. Talk about retaining and keeping LASD graduates here, giving them great careers that they can not have to leave Lewisburg, but stay here and have a good career right when they graduate. I think Sun is an integral part of that. Another new idea I have to add to the conversation is having Sun feel more like an integrated part of LASD campus. So I think that would remove the stigma, but perhaps an idea of maybe taking students to Suntech more often and possibly earlier in their education, and find ways to merge our campuses. And like I said, integrate them would really draw more attention and interest from the student body at LASD.
Okay. Cory?
I already answered.
All right, you already answered. Okay. Now that everyone has answered, would anyone like to offer a rebuttal? No. Okay, thank you. On to the next question. What concerns, if any, do you have about current facilities for athletics and arts in your district? We will start with Tamara.
So Warrior Run just upgraded their athletic facilities. So we have a brand new stadium and field house for our, outdoor football, field hockey. The only thing we haven't done is updated the spectator, the bleachers, and we're noticing that it's a little cramped. So that's definitely something that we need to look at. As far as the arts, we just updated the curtains on our stage. We have ongoing, our our piano was refurbished. Part of the new school that we have to look at, the 7 to 12, is definitely our art room has some major issues, just the classroom with it just needs updates. It's in great need. So one of the major things that we're looking is to get that art room out of where it currently is for our 7 to 12 and get it into a more open, lots of light area. So those were the two main areas that we need to keep in mind.
Okay, thank you. Erin?
So in Lewisburg, we have amazing facilities for the arts, the performing arts in our high school for sure. We have just started to do some upgrades on the middle school stage with respect to lighting and some other things that were very, very beyond their reasonable lifetime. As far as athletics goes, the one thing that we're up against, I think in this whole region, it is just wet all the time. And so when you think about field usage and things like that, there really is a lot of demand for the one turf field that we have. We do need to have our track resurfaced. So there are a few things, and we did, we're looking at the plans that will build out some of the capacity at our one turf field at the high school, for example, bleachers with better accessibility, other things like that. It is one of those things where I think the district wishes we had more funding to support both the arts and athletics, but particularly when you look at us, as Laura mentioned several times, unique in our area, we do not have the resources that other folks have in terms of their athletic facilities.
Okay, thank you. Justin?
Yes, I'm not sure I can add much. I can say that I've seen the facilities we have at the high school, and they're amazing for the arts. I've seen our athletic facilities, and I feel like in some respects they're adequate. I think what I would say is what I would focus on again when we think about where upgrades need to happen is what is the return on our investment from those dollars when it comes to educating kids and student outcomes. And so that's what I'd be looking at when we think about facility upgrades, whether it's in the arts or at the athletics. How is it going to affect student outcomes, and how can we maximize dollars when we're doing that?
Thank you. Tera?
Well, money is probably the biggest hurdle. Lewisburg has never had great sports facilities until some of the things happened with the new high school. We finally got a turf field. We have an awesome baseball field. We have plans for awesome things, but the money's just not there. We currently rely heavily on Bucknell for a swimming pool, for a football field. And most in the community don't realize this, but we pay for that. It's not donated, it's not free. And we actually kind of lose money because we don't make money on concessions then. We have an awesome supporter in the Green Dragon Foundation, which helps us to raise funds, but they can't just magically, you don't have a pot of gold hiding. If they do, then we need to find the end of the rainbow. But just more money is what we need.
Okay, thank you. Miranda?
I agree with what Tamara had said. We do need our bleachers expanded. We did just build the new field house, and we redid our football field. Last year was our first year on it, and this is the first year for our new field house, which is excellent for our community. Like I said, we need to expand our stands for our fans, and also so we are able to host PIAA events, because right now we're not big enough to do so. And yes, the art room definitely needs to be updated and reorganized, or find a bigger space, which will be a little tricky to figure out, but we'll get it done.
Okay, thank you. Ashley?
Yeah, I think a lot has already been said about the needs and the new high school and fields, but also wanting more than that. I think reiterating what Justin said, thinking about return on investment and also our priorities in the budget. When we have a tight budget, it's hard to build new things that will need maintenance and recurring costs. And there is a benefit potentially also to keeping connections with the community and maybe building new relationships or reevaluating how those work to eliminate budget items.
Okay, thank you. Laura.
So my concerns, I'll piggyback off of what Tara said, and I'll give you some numbers here. So Lewisburg Area School District pays Bucknell approximately $1,500 per game for the use of the football stadium. That's 6 to 8 games per year. We pay about $5,500 for graduation at the Soika Pavilion, pay about $6,500 for swimming and diving practices and meets, about $1,000 per season for golf practices. So that's just the starting of the athletic facilities that we are appreciative to be able to use because they are amazing. But that is my concern, is the amount of money we're paying out. Is it less than owning our facilities and maintaining them? Perhaps. I think that's an analysis that we need to run. And one of the additional reasons I agree with the sentiments that academics are the focus of what we do here, but athletics make us competitive. They not only make individual students competitive in nature, but they make our school competitive and stand out amongst our peer schools around us. So if you ask, I'll stop there. Thank you.
Cory.
So, as has been said, I think our facilities, we have the new high school has tremendous facilities for the arts. We continue to maintain those and keep them in top shape. The places that we haven't finalized, I've heard ever since I moved here about not having a football stadium. I've heard about not having various things. We have built some new athletic facilities in the recent years. We continue to look at other plans. We've evaluated some of the costs involved. The fact is we just don't currently have the money. That doesn't mean we'll never have it. It doesn't mean we won't find a creative solution someday, somehow. I don't know what it is as I sit here right now, but a couple of years ago, I would have told you we'd never have air conditioning in all of our schools, and we managed to figure that out some way. So I'm confident that with enough effort and continuing to look at it, that we'll figure out a way.
Okay, thank you. Now that all the candidates have answered that question, would anyone like to offer a rebuttal? No. Okay. Next question. What are your guiding principles on how school boards should address questions about what information students can access in school, including what information educators can teach and discuss in their classrooms? We'll start with Erin.
Sure. So we approve curricular materials when we spend money on them. So whether that's textbooks or whether that's a program like the Bridges for Math, all that sort of thing. So there is some influence of the school board on what is selected and purchased to be able to teach with. As far as what educators can discuss, depending on the topic they're teaching, I think it just needs to be relevant to what they're teaching. So you're not probably going to have any significant controversy in some of our classes. I don't know what controversial topic would come up in. You know what? I'm not going to hypothesize what could come up in any particular class, but I think our teachers are very reasonable. I think our building principals are very vigilant, and I think our superintendent and our assistant superintendent set a mood where teachers are teaching appropriate content, that we are selecting appropriate curricular materials, and we have excellent librarians as well. So I don't see that currently as an issue in our district. I understand that it has been elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Justin.
Yeah, I think that the school board spends time with the administration to hire quality individuals to teach our kids and to provide the resources they need. And for me, the guiding principle is it developmentally and age appropriate, and is it aligned with the curriculum that the school board has adopted for the district. And yeah, I think that would be my guiding principle and how I would view curriculum decisions and what's being taught.
Thank you. Tera.
I think Erin kind of hit on it. We have policies in place for a reason, and that's reviewed very heavily at Lewisburg, at least. And I think that in a perfect world, any topic could come up and be discussed, you know, from both sides of the viewpoint, and we live in a harmonious world. We know that that doesn't happen. Some debate, I think, at different grade levels that's appropriate is important. It's important for kids to figure out what they believe, not just, you know, what their friends believe, or even maybe from what they see at home. So I think it's important to promote thought and still have high standards, and keep education the foremost part of our schools.
Thank you. Miranda.
I believe also that it should be developmentally age appropriate for what our kids are learning in school, and it should align with the standards, and also help them when we are taking the test to make sure they are learning what they need to keep our scores up within the school. I also believe that curriculum should be promoting critically thinking for the kids, something I don't believe our kids get enough of these days.
Okay, thank you. Ashley.
Yeah, reflecting what somebody else said, I think for me as a school board, our first step is just making sure we hire a superintendent who hires good teachers, right? And ultimately placing our confidence that we've hired good people who are doing great work, right? And trusting them that they know what they're doing because they're there in the trenches every day. I remember as a teacher, you know, being able to know your students, who knows my students better than me in the school district, right? So I think trusting those resources that we have. And then also going back to national standards where it's relevant to continue to promote high standards, and promoting that critical thinking, I think, is really important at having students challenge themselves, challenge others, so that they continue to learn.
Okay, thank you. Laura?
I echo a lot of what is said here, and I do think we do a great job in Lewisburg for the most part. I think transparency is my guiding principle here. Transparency in what is taught in the classroom, and if a parent is concerned, transparency in what the discussions are in the classroom. And I think that brings a lot of comfort to parents who, you know, aren't in the classroom all day, but their children spend sometimes more time away from them in the school building than they do with them. And so I think a lot of times when this issue has come up in other districts, transparency would have gone a long way. And I think we do a great job in Lewisburg so far.
Okay, thank you. Cory.
So I think in Lewisburg, we make it a point to have our curriculum brought to us and determined by educational professionals. It's of course approved by the board. I think all of our educators are given great latitude to present the information in the way that they think most beneficial for our students. And I think that those same educators and all the people that supervise them and administrate, and their administrators have to also take great pride in being responsive to any student or parental concerns that might come up as a result of whatever is being taught. And it pretty much takes care of itself.
Okay, thank you. Tamara.
Our curriculum at Warrior Run is developed, discussed in a committee made up of community members, administrators, professional staff, parents, a very large number of people, committee that look into the curriculum and then present it to the administrators who then present it to the board. So having that curriculum being so well looked at from all sides, I think we do a really great job with that. As far as, I mean, the state Pennsylvania requires that curriculum be made available to parents. So if a parent is thinking that they're in the dark, right, about transparency, that is available, and they can contact their school administrators to find out what the curriculum is. And yes, as far as, you know, I trust the professionals, I trust the process, and as long as things are being guided by that, then I'm happy.
Okay, thank you. All the candidates have now answered that question. Would anyone like to offer a rebuttal? No. Okay, final question. There are already teacher shortages, and this situation is predicted to worsen as fewer individuals enter the field and others depart early. What do you think districts should do to attract and retain talented teachers? This time we'll start with Justin.
Yeah, so I think Lewisburg has been lucky because of its reputation to have continued to attract good staff and teachers. You know, I think it comes down to making sure that we're doing everything that we can to maintain a pay scale that is on par with others, as well as offering the benefits and resources to teachers that they need to do their job in a quality way. And again, I think Lewisburg has been at the forefront of that, and I think we see that in our ability to be able to hire staff here as is. So I would just look to continue to do that, to keep our reputation as a district so that we can continue to hire good staff.
Okay, thank you. Tera.
So I think it starts from the top down a little bit. And I'm going to start with the superintendent. When you have a quality superintendent and quality administrators, people want to come and work there. Great teams in the different schools helps also, and support for new teachers helps. Pay is always important. I mean, they're doing the job because they love kids, hopefully first and foremost, but at the end of the day, they have a family or, you know, themselves to support. And so we need to be competitive. I think also we need to start encouraging people to become teachers again, instead of making it like, oh, you don't want to be a teacher. Why not? If you love kids, you should be a teacher. If you love education, you should be a teacher. If you are good at, problem solving, you should be a teacher. It can be a great career, and we just need to be more supportive.
Okay, thank you. Miranda.
I also think it starts from the top down. When you have good administration staff, it speaks volume for new teachers coming in. Pay is always an issue. You have to stay competitive with other schools. You also want to have a good staff, so when teachers do come on board, they feel welcome and they learn the processes of your school district. And I also think respect from the teachers and from students goes both ways too, and developing a healthy relationship for new teachers.
Okay, thank you. Ashley.
Yeah, teacher retention is actually my big research area that I've studied for years. And as a former teacher myself who left teaching, it's something that's dear to my heart and a question I'm glad people are talking about. In addition to that, competitive pay folks have brought up, they've also brought up, right, those working conditions that we know are really important, like leadership, feeling supported, teacher autonomy. So do teachers feel like we trust them? Are we questioning them and just kind of making them do all this extra stuff because they feel like we don't trust them? School climate, right? Is it a safe, caring environment and collegiality? And part of this, I think, too, comes back to the conversation about budget that is keep coming up. Like, are we prioritizing these types of things when we're talking about a budget, not just pay wise, but these working conditions when we're making decisions?
Okay, thank you. Laura?
I think Erin did mention earlier that the majority of our budget in LASD goes to paying teachers and staff, and very important, and agree that we need attractive salaries in the first place. I think a couple different things that are a little bit different here for the school board. I think having an excellent relationship with our teachers union is really important. I think that's been done pretty well from what I've seen of the history of LASD. And I think that will naturally attract teachers if there's a good working relationship there and one that's trusted. As a school board member, I understand that it's important to have a really great relationship with your administration, but I also think it's a great idea to have as many personal connections and hear feedback directly from the teachers who are in the schools every day. And that's one thing that I would promise to do as a school board member, is to have as many direct connections to our great teachers as I could.
Okay, thank you. Cory?
So teacher shortages aren't new. They've been a fact of life for a number of years, but I said before, and I don't remember if it was the primaries or one of the previous years, it's something that really hasn't impacted us at Lewisburg. And I think the reason for that is because we make it a priority to compensate our teachers well. We give them good benefits. We do our best to create a good collegial atmosphere and culture for them to work in, and we just try to make the workplace someplace that they want to be. And it seems to have worked thus far.
Okay, thank you. Tamara?
I researched this recently, so just to throw out a statistic, CBS News reported that the teacher shortage in Pennsylvania in 2010 to 2011, the school year, 15,000 teacher certifications were produced that year. In 2022, it was down to 5,000. So it's a real problem. And the top reasons that were listed is pay, and that they were tired of being disrespected, that there's a political atmosphere that they didn't want to put up with. Those were the top two reasons, according to that report. So yes, definitely having a great relationship with your teachers union is important. Make sure they're happy. Respect and culture goes a long way. If they're happy, they feel respected, and their administration is supportive, the school board listens to them, then they're more likely to stay. And then of course, fair pay. We have to be competitive with especially the other districts in our IU.
Okay, thank you. Erin?
The people have mentioned pay, benefits, work culture, respective parents, all of those sorts of things, respect of the community. Something that our superintendent, Kathy Moser, emphasized at convocation this year was better together. So it really is about building a culture to retain all staff, and recruitment tends to be more of the concern for some positions. We've done an excellent job, again, because of our competitive pay and benefits, to get new teachers into the district. But for example, we've been looking for some mental health professionals. We've been looking for an LPN for a long time. We're always searching for other support staff in the district. And so the shortages just generally of folks who want to work in schools is very real. When Cory and I we have planning meetings with the superintendent and the administrative team before board meetings, we regularly talk about whether or not we're filling positions. And so I think we need to keep an eye on that, because it is a lot of time on the part of the administration to continue to search, to continue to interview, and then to not fill. So I would offer the one thing, though, that we do very well is we are collaborative. Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Erin. So everyone has now answered that question. And does anyone, would anyone like to offer a rebuttal? I didn't think so. To the candidates, thank you for participating in this event. The League and the voters of Union County appreciate your willingness to present yourselves to them at this event. To our audience, we know you had other possibilities of things to do tonight, but you came to this event because you wanted to know more about the candidates you'll be voting for in the November election. Our League thanks you for attending. To the voters, all of us, it is now up to us, the voters of Union County, to go out and vote on Tuesday, November 7th. The polls are open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. If you enjoyed this event and have an interest in joining the League of Women Voters, please contact us through our Facebook page, League of Women Voters Lewisburg Area, or on our website, LWVLewisburgArea.org. I would also remind you that there is another forum, candidates night tomorrow evening, Linda? Tomorrow evening, East Buffalo Township.
October 26th.
Oh, October
October
20.
26th is East Buffalo Township, and the 24th is the Judicial Candidates Forum.
Okay, and information about voting is available in our voters guide and on our website, and I encourage you to visit them. So thanks again, everybody, and have a great evening.
Thank you.